Hey everyone, hope you all had a great week. We are almost done our self-care plan. We got one other thing to talk about. It's going to take us very quick to talk about it. However, we're then going to finish off our self-care plan and start talking about how we can help other people. Taking everything that we just learned about our self-care plan and putting it into care for others. All right? Without further ado, let's get started. So we started off with a series of questions to figure out how stressed are we. Okay? We moved on into our next video talking about our signs and symptoms and some of the things that we're going to recognize. We then talked about the cycle and how we can use that to our advantage and how we can use that to help us. We talked a little bit about some definitions and breaking down what stress actually is. All right? Today, we're going to finish off with one quick topic and moving on to how we can help other people. So that quick thing is, what helps you decompress? What helps you de-stress? What helps you feel good? All right? What I want you to do is make a list of all those things that help you feel good, put them at the end of that self-care plan, and I want you to make reference to it. Every single time you are feeling stressed, do one of those things. And the more stress you feel, the bigger the thing that should be. All right? Like we talked about working out, healthy eating habits, maybe going for a run, just getting it out there, listening to music, maybe reading your favorite book, and maybe sitting down and watching Netflix. Whatever it is that helps you decompress, do it. And if it's for 5 minutes, if it's for an hour, whatever the case is, go ahead and do it. All right? If you're at work and you just need 2 minutes to yourself, you just need to decompress, you need to think about what's happening, you need to just do a little bit of meditation or mindfulness. In the last week's video, and I'll put the link in below again, but I created 2 videos or 2 audio clips for you that you can download right to your phone, play it while you're at work, while you're in the car, while you're on the bus, doesn't matter where you are. It should help you to just focus on breathing techniques, focus on your body and where the stress is in your body, and hopefully release it. All right? So take a listen to those. They're only a couple minutes each. We all have a couple minutes in a day, and it could just be on the way home. I would not recommend it while you're driving, just because it's going to take calming and meditation, and you're going to really have to focus on your breathing. However, if you're a passenger, if you're on the GO train, if you're on the bus, however you're getting home other than you driving, take a listen. Definitely will help. All right? So doing those decompressing activities that you really enjoy is going to help you move through that stress and into a better place. All right? So any questions? Put up your hands. Anyone? Did anyone put up their hand? I don't know. I can't see you. If you did, just shoot me a message and hopefully I'll be able to help you out. Again, we're talking about your self-care. All right? The most important person in your life is you. Think about that. All right? The most important person in your life is yourself. Care for yourself before you start caring for other people. All right? You can't care for other people if you can't care for yourself. Right. So let's get on to how we can help other people. How we can care for others. We're going to take the same idea, the same cycle, the same methodology, and apply it to other people. So let's get started. So before we get started, we're going to talk about 2 things: loss and grief. All right? So what is loss and what is grief? Loss can come in many forms. It can come from a loss of a loved one, family member, a pet. Right? Loss can also come from a physical object. It could be your house, your car. Okay? And it could be as small as your cell phone, your wallet. Has anyone lost their wallet or lost their cell phone and not known what they were going to do? Right? Losing your wallet is a big deal. You have to call the credit card companies, you got to call the banks, you got to call your insurance, you may have your SIN number in there. That's a lot of stuff that goes through your head. Loss. Loss could also be something sentimental. Maybe you had a box in your basement of memories, childhood memories, and then your basement had a flood and you lost that box. How would that make you feel? The second one is grief. Grief is what happens with people that are responding to that loss. So some things to keep in mind when talking to anybody that's going through grief: reassure them. Tell them what they're experiencing is expected, is normal. It's okay to feel that way. There is no right way to grieve, all right? So avoid telling them how they should be grieving, because everyone will grieve a different way. Avoid making judgment. People who grieve can either show no emotion or a lot of emotion. And you have the people in between as well. So avoid making judgment on them just because they may not be showing signs of emotion. They could be internalizing a lot of it. Don't take their emotions personally. That's how they feel. It shouldn't be how you should feel. And allow the individual time to grieve. Everybody will have a different length of time that they are going to grieve, but don't push them through that process. Let them go through that process at their own pace. Just be there to help and support them. So, self-care. Let's get into it. Let's get the cycle involved. Do you guys remember what the cycle was? Look, listen, link, and live. All right? So, what was that cycle? How can we use it? So look, what are we looking for? This time we're not looking for those signs in ourselves, but we're looking for those signs in the other person. So things that we want to look out for, those signs of stress or the signs of distress. Signs of distress could include that uncontrollable sobbing, inability to care for their basic needs, overwhelming silence, maybe they're not very a silent person, and delusions, maybe it's hallucinations as well. Different signs of distress. Any nonverbal signs of communication, watch out for. Okay, it could be clenching of the fists, red face, short tempered, short fuses, that sort of thing. Make sure that their basic needs are met. Offer them food, offer them housing, offer them maybe transportation, helping them to get to place. Or maybe it's just offering them an ear to listen. All right. Also watch out for those resiliency factors. Resiliency is key when we're trying to get to a new state of normalcy. All right. After loss, we have to get back to a new normal. All right. And like I said in the last video, that's a definition I love to use, getting back to a new normal, because we're never going to bounce back. We're never going to go back. We're never going to get to where we were because we just lost something or someone. We need to get back to a new state of normal so that we can live a healthier life. All right? So looking for those signs. Next is listen. All right? Approach them. Ask them. Talk to them. See if their basic needs are being met. See what they need from you before offering any further assistance. Because you know what? They may not want to talk to you at that moment. That's fine. Just offer and let them know, I'm here to talk if you want. That's it. Let them be. But there's two things that you need to ensure when you're talking to an individual. Number one, be calm. Okay? Make sure you're calm when you're approaching the individual and while they're talking. Influxes in your voice could be detrimental to their process. And be open. All right? When you're asking somebody if they need any assistance from you, just be mindful and be open and allow them to experience and talk about their process and talk about their emotional state. Make no assumptions, all right? You need to acknowledge their state and empower them to provide you with the accurate information to help you guide them in the right direction. You need to also encourage healthy coping techniques. If you're starting to assume certain things, they may shut down, they may not even talk to you. So a few different listening tips. This can go for anything. If you are a supervisor, if you need to just talk to somebody, if you work in customer service, and if you are just trying to help other people, these listening tips, I can guarantee you, some of you may say, I already know that. No, you don't, okay? How you do it is very important. Be present and respectful. Well, I'm present all the time, right? I'm just sitting here. No. Be present means you're actually engaging the conversation. Be respectful means you're understanding of their opinions. Be compassionate and understand that person's age, gender, cultural background, because everybody's going to experience it differently, and their backgrounds may actually influence that feeling as well. Pay attention to those verbal and non-verbal communication. That includes crossing of the arms, raising of the voice, clenching, especially if they're angry at someone else, for that to happen. It could even be looking at their watch, looking at that door. Empathize with them and leave space for silence. Silence is important, believe it or not. If someone's coming to you and someone's talking to you and getting it off their chest, you don't have to respond right away. Let the calm, let the silence happen, and maybe that's all they need. They may have answered their own question. And be aware of the tone and inflection in your voice. And also watch out for the tone and inflection in their voice as well. Can be very harmful when talking to somebody who's gone through loss or is grieving at in the current process. Let's listen. We're going to move on to link. All right? If you remember back in the last video, linking to those support networks. That's where we want to move these individuals to help them through. We're not professionals. We want to get them to professionals, or we want to get them to a support network that can help them. So there are 4 main things to consider when talking about linking to a support network. 1, we need to get them to resources for their basic needs to ensure that they're met. Could be shelters, it could be food banks, whatever the case is. We need that accurate information, number 2. All right? And how are we going to get that from them? We need to be open. All those listening factors we need to do to gain their trust so that they can be open with us. We need to know who their loved ones are. Okay, for some individuals, their loved ones could be at home and their spouse and their children. Their loved ones could also be their family and extended relatives, or maybe it's not. And 4 is the social, cultural, or even religious networks that are around them. So these are some of the things that we need to try to get from them in our listening step so that we can prepare ourselves to link them to those networks a lot better. If somebody is a risk to harm themselves or to harm other people, you have an obligation to tell somebody. And that somebody is 911, police. Okay? Get police there, because if they're an imminent threat to themselves or other individuals, you want to get them and keep them, but let them know right off the top that you have an obligation to disclose if they are a risk to themselves or to other people. And if they disclose that, you need to open up and tell somebody. Okay? If it's in a workplace, you may have to tell your supervisor, director. You may have to call child services or protective services of individuals. And of course, like I said, 911 or police to come help you out. And the last step is live. What we want to do here, of course, is getting back to that new state of normalcy. We need to build that resilience in ourselves or in their selves. And it is very important to take care of yourself, especially after loss or a traumatic stress or whatever the case is. Self-care is essential to helping others. So a good self-care plan for yourself will definitely help you help other people. But ultimately, when you're helping somebody, there is one thing that you need to keep in mind, and that is do no harm. What we want to do is create a safe environment. And the ways we're going to do that are as follows. Number 1, protection. We need to provide a safe environment, not only for ourselves, but for them as well. All right? That may be not talking about it in a workplace where other people can hear or see. It could be maybe just going out to a coffee shop where there's other people to protect ourselves so other people are watching. You really need to get a sense of who that is, who that person is, and what they're going through. Respect. People come from different places in their life. People come from different upbringings and different learnings. You need to understand and respect that in them. Integrity. Do what you say you're going to do and respect their privacy and confidentiality. All right? Don't be talking to other people about how Susie felt or how Paul felt. Respect the privacy, and that conversation is just between the two of you. Dignity. Okay? Honor their dignity, respect that dignity, and give them the time and the space that they need. And empathy. Be aware of their feelings. Be aware of their feelings and try to see things from their perspective. All right, so that is how we can help other people, how we can help other individuals. What I want you to know is that the self-care plan and caring for others, or psychological first aid, if you want to know more, take a psychological first aid course. The Canadian Red Cross offers them right across Canada. It's definitely a helpful course to even have in your back pocket, regardless of what profession you're in. All right, it definitely helps, especially if you're a supervisor in the workplace, especially if you are manage people, if you are in a hospital, if you're in a any type of home, if you work at a shelter, whatever the case is, this course will definitely help. It goes into more detail. It takes into consideration some case studies, but ultimately psychological first aid can be used before, during, or even after a crisis event. Crisis event is just something that happens inside of us, or something that happens to us that's outside our norm. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, hope you all have a great week, and we will see you all in the next video. Take care. All right, that was a lot of information. That was a lot of stuff. I know you probably have, close to an hour worth of videos. If you start from the first video and work your way to the last video, you probably have close to almost an hour worth of footage. This course really is a full 2-day course, or can be a blended option in a 1-day course. Do some online learning and then do it in a 1-day course in person. But remember, do no harm. Okay, those principles are very important when you're trying to help other people, but make sure you create that self-care plan. Make sure you have things put into place to help yourselves in those stressful times. All right? Hope you all have a great week. Like I said, reach out to me if you have any other questions. I definitely recommend this course for anybody. If you need it taught, reach out to me and I will definitely come over and teach it for your workplace. We can have that conversation later. Otherwise, stay tuned to the next video. We'll see you all next week. Take care.